for whatever reason but still want to participate, you can always chat in the Zoom chat and we'll answer your questions as well. We need some people to join though, at the very
That
least.
is the critical.
Otherwise, it'll be me and Brooke
Some people.
for 45 minutes about nothing.
But whilst we wait for humans,
Yeah, we got Florian.
I will go ahead and share this out to the appropriate channels.
Let me know when I should actually start and give the spiel.
Oh, you can go ahead and, I mean, you can get started. I'm just dropping this in the alumni chat. Also, S.A. Sam Murray, I am going to shut off your video. When you come back, you are not going to be able to turn it back on, and you probably can't hear me because you're not there. So I'm saying this to nobody. But by doing that, what it's going to do is just keep that one little chair from showing. Although I don't know what view I'm using. I think we're okay, actually. I'll leave it on for the time, but I might switch.
Switch it off.
Speaker view. Okay. I think we're good. I think we can go.
Video's on. We want our videos on. So
video's on if you can. Yeah, that way we can see you. Yeah, no, it's just Sam because Sam's not there. It's just a chair. So that'd be why. So
just to let everyone else know, we are live streaming, so you will be live on social media. So
they should have put up a little like letting them know.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into it. Hello, welcome everybody to CLCI Live's Lunch and Learn. We are here with the Coaching 102 students who are about to graduate as Master Certified Professional Life Coaches. And what we're doing today is answering your guys' business and marketing questions. So if you have anything in that area you'd like to ask about the business of coaching, coaching in general, or anything else, we'll try to answer your questions. Feel free to comment as well. We'll answer anything that goes on in the chat. And one final note, me and Brooke are not the experts by far. I'm sure everybody has their own inputs to add. So if you have an answer to someone else's question, feel free to answer as well. And now on to quick introductions. My name is Anthony Lopez. I am the project director with Certified Life Coach Institute. And I do a lot of the copywriting, and I've worked with Brooke closely doing a marketing and consulting business. So I've got a good amount of experience in that regard. Brooke, it's your turn to introduce yourself.
I am Chief Strategy Officer here at CLCI. I've been with the company now for, I think, 6 years. My expertise lies in branding, marketing, business strategy, things of that nature. And I've certainly worked with quite a few coaches in quite a few different ways. And both Anthony and I are also practicing coaches. We've helped coaches launch their businesses. We've done a lot of these things. We do have a lot of experience with regard to both marketing and business and things of that nature. Of course, everything within the realm of we can help you as much as we can, but there are certain things that we will just say, okay, you'll need to talk to a lawyer for that if we get those questions. So, but yes, so this is entirely up to you guys. Let us know if you guys have questions. If you want, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, we see faces. We'll just call on faces. And anywhere in this realm, we can work really. If you're even unsure of what your question is, we can coach you through that too.
So who has? Oh, Vicky, she's quick with the hand raise.
Sure. Thank you, first of all, for being available as a resource to us. I haven't even really launched my business yet. I'm working with a branding consultant and a website developer to get all of that in place. But as a brand new life coach, where can I expect most of my clients to come from? Is it internet? Is it referral? If you could just give some comments around that.
So I was going to say the simplest answer to that is you'll get the most clients where you're going to put yourself out there. If you're going to be putting yourself out there, boots on the ground, word of mouth, in your like city, it'll probably be most people from that area. If you start putting yourself out on social media, building that website, marketing, doing ads, it'll probably come from online. It just depends on where you are actually putting your effort and energy.
And I can tell you that a lot of different coaches get a lot of different results in different spaces. Referral, though, is always, I would say, hand over fist, having a referral network is a really effective way to gain trust quickly. There's various, depending on where you're putting yourself and your energy and your time, there is going to be some roads will be longer than others. So if you're out there on the internet, think of how many people are out there on the internet, and you're talking to a mass group of people. It's going to be a lot longer road to establish trust with your clients. That's one of the reasons we really drive home specificity and micro niching, is because then you can, it's really, honestly, marketing is so much about building trust. People have to trust you to pay you. And so with that being said, Anthony's very right. Where you put your time and your energy is going to give, is where you're going to see your results. But you always want to be putting that time and energy in a place that makes sense for where your client is.
Okay.
This is danger. Anytime I'm speaking on Zoom, he shows up. Otherwise, he doesn't care what I'm doing. But so we, but one of the things, so that's really number one is knowing where your client is. But having the website, having that brand is so good for building trust. And one of the things when I said having a referral network, the reason for that being is because how much more do we trust somebody when we know somebody who is recommending that to us?
Mhm.
It's automatically, you've got this level of trust that just exists and it is there. That's another reason why testimonials become so important, and having faces attached and names attached to those testimonials. If I see an anonymous testimonial, I'm not buying it, unfortunately, most of the time. So working out with clients, especially as you're going through this process of if you're doing reciprocal coaching, the folks that you're coaching with in here, they are probably willing to say, yeah, you can, I'll write a testimonial for you and you can use my name and my face. And that's really helpful in those spaces. One of the other things too, that if you want to make yourself a big fish in a small pond, think locally, think locally if you can. Start working locally, really, we do trust a lot more with somebody that's right in front of us in person. And if you are opening your doors where you have an office or something like that, you can do local SEO because you're not going to be pulling from people across the country. That being said, there are definitely still ways to make yourself a big fish in a small pond and do it all virtually and digitally as well. So.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, who else has a question for us?
Everybody looks scared.
Calling on people. I see
Okay.
Florian Michael and S.A. Sam Murray. Their cameras on.
You want me to go first?
Sure.
All right. I didn't. Sometimes I just. But I have two questions. So my wife and I have an established business already. We do consulting that now I feel confident is really coaching, really in terms of helping people discover and live their personal myth. We have online classes. So our business is mostly online. I mean, practically all online. And I've two related questions. So once we have our email lists, our followers are really loyal, high open rate. But my two questions are, how can I reach the people that don't even know about yet, sort of, about the funnel analogy, the very top of the funnel? And the other, it's a separate question, but it's really related. I, several years ago, made a decision to basically go off all social media. This was before that movie, The Social Dilemma, came out. And so when people say, you really got to use social media, really got to use TikTok, part of me is like, oh, I should do it. But my decision wasn't an easy decision, and I really don't want to throw my decision away. So what are ways to open a funnel without getting back into the matrix of social media.
I'm going to
Well-
say that is a difficult question because it seems like Brooke's making a face at me.
I
But-
think there are lots of ways.
Well, then I'll just say at first glance, it probably does seem difficult then because a lot of today's markets are via social media and being online. Pretty much Instagram, Facebook,
Well, it's why
else, they're designed to make money by selling ads. That's what really that they're for. And that's how a lot of people capture those people on the very edge of the funnel who don't even know about you. Brooke.
So
You
what do you consider social media? Curious just to make sure. So that way we're speaking the same language.
Yeah, I mean, I was on Facebook when it first started, and then a few years ago went off it because it just really changed. I had a LinkedIn account, I deleted that, but I never really got into LinkedIn. I had an Instagram account I'm not sure I fully deleted it, but it's been crickets for years. So, and I never even created a TikTok account. I never got on Twitter.
I think all of this is manageable. So there's still several spaces. One of the things you can consider too is there are people who aren't afraid of social media that maybe you can network with, that you can, people who are serving your client, like podcasts, that you could reach out to and try to get on, even news channels. We use a service called Quoted. They actually allow you to respond to people who are looking for expert requests, essentially. So they're looking for people who have an expertise. So you are a life coach. A lot of these, we have a hashtag alert, essentially. Anybody who's looking for anything for an article that has to do with life coaches, I get an alert and we can choose to respond. And then you're of course competing with other folks for that expert opinion in that space in their news channel. But a lot of times, you can keep applying and you'll get through to somebody. Again, reaching out to podcasts and things like that, because if they are serving your clientele already, getting in there and getting on one of their episodes gets people who don't know you, who have no clue who you are. If they have a website, a way to reach you, that's the most critical thing in all of these spaces. You want to have a direct link to you whenever you do any kind of co-marketing. So make sure that you are prepared with that. Where can people find you? How can they get a hold of you? Boom. What do you do? And that should be so simple, because I know a lot of people will do a lot of podcasts and talks and things like that. And they're like, well, how do I get people to funnel to me from that? And well, you've got to give them a direct line to you. That is huge. It's so critical. So in that space too, another way, getting into places where you can talk, putting yourself out there for, there's a lot of virtual conferences. There's non-virtual conferences that again, what?
Was it Speaker One? That was that service?
Speaker Lab is a service that helps you find paying speaking gigs and things of that nature, but even non-paying, getting yourself out there. Chamber of Commerce, if you've got one, finding other organizations where there are people. I mean, the reality is, and then this is me talking much more broader. I would also, if I knew, whittle you down to who is your ideal client, where are they? Where are those people?
Mm-hmm.
Be there, find a way to be there. I mean, and that doesn't have to be, when I say where are those people, it doesn't have to be that you're there in context. If I have a coach that's coaching moms who are, overwhelmed or something like that, I would say, well, where are other moms that are overwhelmed? PTA, daycare, you know what I mean? Find a way to get your information on the walls of those places, on the counters of those places, in the hands of the women who frequent those places. So really knowing who your ideal client is and figuring out, even I will go as minutia level detail of okay, what does your client eat for breakfast? Where do they eat breakfast? Where do they eat lunch? Who do they listen to? Because in all of that information, I can find out where I can get my foot in the door. and where I can find them, and where I can start to even, when you're at a grocery store and you're pushing a shopping cart, there is marketing on that little flip up thing. I mean, and that's, so there are all these little places that we often don't think about. If you're riding on a bus or a subway, there's usually marketing running up above. When we're driving on the freeway, we see billboards. These are all areas that sometimes I think we as coaches don't think about. Most business owners, they go straight to social media, they go straight to things like that. But the truth of the matter is we're being inundated with marketing 24/7. So figuring out where your client is, and then that is how you can, and the funnel might be long sometimes, right? If I'm marketing on a flip up thing at the grocery store, I'm thinking probably I've never called a number from there. I've never reached out to anybody. But if I see somebody's face there, and then I see somebody's face on like a local paper, and then I see somebody's face, and then when that need arises, subconsciously, I've seen this person in several different places. To me, that already is establishing some trust. I'm like, well, they're around. They're clearly doing this. They've got the money to, maybe I should check them out and give them an extra look. So,
Was
Anthony,
that able to answer your question?
does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sam.
Hello.
Hi there.
Thank you for doing this. This is really helpful. Can you make a comments about a social media manager? How do you find one? What are you looking for? What are the problems that, some of them probably have in that industry? What do they likely charge? How do you define what you want, or, how does that work? I've never had a social media manager.
So when I embarked on opening my business, like when I left doing entertainment and looked around me, it was like, what do people need? They all need branding. They all need social media marketing. So that's where I started. And I thought early on, well, this is going to be easy. Like, social media, I could do this. I quickly found out it's a lot to like post. So be aware that it's not easy if you're going to be in a lot of channels to have regular posting, have interesting content, there's monitor and response. There's a lot that goes into this. And one client for a social media manager can be a full-time job. 2 clients can be a full-time. I mean, so the more on that person's plate, if it's just one human being, I would want to make sure that they have other systems in place that where you are working on a calendar a month prior to, so that they can upload it all. It's going to be pushed out, and boom, boom, boom. It's all going to be automated, because there are processes that automate it. No, though, it's still going to come down to you helping them create that content that's right for you. You're going to have to sort of still be involved, because this is your business and your message, your word. And so on some level, you're still gonna have to be helping that manager out. If that's providing photos, if that's providing content, and when I say content, I mean blog content, other things that you're doing. If you're speaking, they can come up with as much of it as possible, but they're still gonna have to work with you. And the less involved they are, likely the less out of touch they're going to be with what your actual brand is, and the more generic-y kind of stuff you're going to be getting. I always say start small, start with one channel if you can, and then build from there. It's pretty easy to sort of do Instagram and Facebook at the same time, but you still probably want to build content for one or the other and then share to the other, but know that you're focusing on one, because they are different.
And then to address your questions on to how to find these people and what exactly you're looking for in terms of like pricing and how to decide between someone, there's sites such as Fiverr or Thumbtack that are like freelancing services where you can find contractors who specialize in not only like social media marketing, but like the platform.
Not y'all, and now there's like websites and things that will do it. I have yet to, we tried 99, I think it was called 99-cent social, $99 social or something like that. And it was like hitting a wall. So like I wasn't, and then there's so many nuanced little things that you can do. My best advice, at least in my experience thus far, is to find somebody who's doing it on a smaller level, not on this grand scale level. So I think you'll get a lot more attention and time.
To add to that, how do you choose who is right for you? Once you found somebody that you kind of like, the prices sort of work in your price range, how do you decide if they're actually good or not? Most people who are worth anything will have examples of their work. You can view sort of work that they've done in the past and then evaluate it to see if it's up to your standards or not.
What they're doing they should at least have one other client they can refer. Oh, I'm doing so-and-so social. Okay, I'm going to look at it. And if they're social media managers, and also I will share, we have a couple that are trusted that I can share, but I don't know how busy their workload is. And I'm always, we've got to be careful taking on clients, because what happens if we take on too many clients, then the business, it ends up suffering. So I make sure that whatever platform they're using, they have expertise in, because a lot of social media experts will have a lot of experience in Facebook and Instagram, but they don't know much about TikTok, or they don't know much about, so it's almost kind of like they have or LinkedIn. So you kind of want to find, again, pick your channel, pick where your client is, pick where your client's going to listen to you, and then find a manager that's working and knows that channel well, knows that site well, knows that way of marketing well. And even within that, you'll get, I know people that only managers that only do, they take on micro niche coaches, and then they do challenges with them. And that's their thing. We do Facebook challenges. We get people, we create a group, then we do Facebook challenges, and that's how we bring people in. So just have a thorough conversation with these, and how they have worked with people in the past, what they have done that has been successful, and make sure that jives with you and what your plan is and what works in your world. A big thing to always consider, no matter what channel you're on, is social media is about being social. So you can have somebody who's posting for you, but always ask about, we call it monitor and response. Monitor and response is people who are whether they're in your account, they're acting like you, they are responding to people who are interacting with your post. So if somebody likes your post, if somebody comments on your post, you need to be commenting back. You need to be creating that conversation. And a really good social media manager will be helping you create that conversation, helping you respond, helping you, if you're getting inboxes, figuring out a way to get people to go from just commenting to checking you out. And they'll be working on this backside of things too, where they'll be automating messaging for you, so that way you're able to be active in your social media and not just doing posts and ignoring people. Like, it's really that relationship that is developed in not the posts, but in how you respond to the posts, how you respond to the messages, what's written in those posts, and things of that nature. So
Thank you.
Vicky, you had your hand up.
So I plan to use LinkedIn and Instagram, and that's based upon my target audience that is females, predominantly working women. But with that, LinkedIn I find pretty intuitive. Instagram just is, to me, I can't figure it out. What resources are out there to help me figure out how to use Instagram effectively?
I'm trying to think of good expert Instagram, because so first share with me what about Instagram is confusing or frustrating.
First of all, I'm not a big Instagram user, and a lot of people that I know on Facebook are not on Instagram. I can't figure out, like, I don't post there. So if I post on Facebook, it's shared to Instagram, but I'm probably going to stop that soon because I want those to be separate. I can't figure out how to find people on Instagram. I don't know the story thing. I mean, I sound like a really old person when I'm saying this.
I can give you a little bit of info. No, it's fine. Well, and they change things a lot in social media. So like as quick as with digital marketing, as quick as you think you know something changes. So first thing to know about Instagram is it's a visual platform. So it was created to share interesting images and
Okay.
interesting visuals, interesting video, right? So you always want to look at Instagram and approach it from a visual place first. It's one of those places like with TikTok, when you're scrolling, the sound is always on, but with Instagram, the sound is off. And so you have to really catch people visually first. The writing and the text is very small. So approach it from a visual standpoint first and foremost. The big difference between, and really you only have to know two things at the moment. I think reels have become kind of what stories are. If you're reels are essentially, I'm posting a video that's longer than a minute. So it becomes a reel at that point. But so we'll just set that aside for now. When you do just a standard post on Instagram, that will just a post without any text will just go to people who are following you. But if you want to reach people who are not following you on Instagram, then that's where hashtags come in. That's why you'll see people putting, periods down. And one of the reasons that people will like write a post and then they'll do these little dots, like they'll just period enter. So you can't see the actual hashtags until like way
Okay.
later. One of the reasons that people do that is so that there's a subconscious thing that goes on with people who are scrolling. If they see hashtags, they think, oh, it's a business I'm being sold to. And sometimes we'll ignore it immediately. So, but those hashtags are like golden tickets. That's how I think of them. Like you've just been handed 30 golden tickets to get into other people's feeds. People on Instagram follow hashtags. They will follow. So if I'm interested in life coaching, I will use that example I was using. If I'm an overwhelmed mother, but maybe I'm going to follow hashtags on parenting advice. Maybe I'm going to follow hashtag, how to be a parent, hashtag moms of Instagram, hashtag, and now I'm following these hashtags. If you use that hashtag, you will get into the feeds of other people. So you have the opportunity to get into their feeds. It's also very inexpensive to run ads on Instagram. It's one of the reasons you see so many. So that is, it's very inexpensive way to run ads. So people will often do that and run ads because then there's a lot that comes with that. But let's just stick, those hashtags will get you the opportunity to hopefully get your post in the feed of other people. Your story will only show to people who are already following you. So if I'm not following you, I will never see your story. So that story, though, what it does is it puts your image right on the top of my feed, though. So if I'm in Instagram, right at the top, the first thing I'm going to see is all of these little faces,
Right.
and those are that's to get the attention of people that are already following you. So that's really what the big difference is there. So know that when you're posting. So when you're posting with those hashtags, if you're posting, for somebody who's out here in the periphery, a businesswoman that's out here in the periphery, where she is much higher on that funnel. So she might not even be at this point problem aware. She might not have articulated what her problem is yet. And so that's who you want to speak to her. You want to speak to whatever in her life is making her uncomfortable and give her solutions, relate to her, whoever, in whatever way that you can. You want to get her to stop scrolling. And that's why you're going to see a lot of things like quotes or even moving quotes and things like that on Instagram, because that's the way people use words, but also are able to like communicate what they're about. You'll also see, things where people are standing there and then they're doing a lot of pointing and words are popping up. And that's because it's silent. So if you're talking on Instagram, most people who are scrolling Instagram don't have their sound on. So you want to have whatever, if you're there saying something, you want to make sure those words are showing up on the screen so people can also read them. That is, wait, does boosting your posts in a negative image falsify? It's not necessarily, no. I would absolutely say no, Bernice. I'll go into that in a second. But you want to be smart when you do boost your post. So that, the other way Bernice has just brought up is, we touched on it, is running ads. Running ads is a fantastic way to get into people's feed. You'll notice that it goes about 3 regular people I'm following posts to an ad. 3 ad, 3 ad, 3 ad, which is, that's a lot of ads, right, to be going through. And I have clicked on many of them. What you're going to want to have prepared, though, when you run an ad, is make sure you have that plan, that learn more, that click here, that link planned out to a direct line to whatever it is that you're speaking about. You want that consistency. So if you're speaking to overwhelmed businesswoman, and what you're offering is, hey, this is, what I have for you is a to-do list on how to get this master, I've created this master to-do list on how to get your life together, or whatever. And that's what you're offering. That's what that learn more button will go to, right? You're gonna click on the learn more. She's gonna learn about this to-do list. She's gonna have to put her email in, and then now you've captured her information so you can market to her later. And she gets that bit of whatever it is you created to help her. And that's what makes a powerful ad. You want that powerful ad to be going to something that they can use quickly, or they can sign up for quickly, or they can, if it's a 10-minute, if you're doing a 10-minute discovery session, that's what you're offering. So then in your ad, you're going to share what's going to happen in this discovery session, how working with you will change their lives in a very succinct and interesting visually way. And then that will be the book your learn more. They'll click that button, and that'll be direct link to setting up that discovery session with you, why it's important, what it will do, and that a bit more, it's going to build out that information of what you can do for them. But that right there, they'll be able to book it. And it's consistent all the way across the board. Your branding is consistent. They know they're in the right place when they click it. It's talking about the same thing. We're not throwing them for a loop anywhere along the way. Does that make sense? It's a lot of information. There's a lot of information, but truthfully, simply, if you want to find new people and reach new people, posts and ads, right? And your story is for getting the attention of the people that are already following you, making sure you're still engaging with them, making sure that you're still coming up and you're still reminding them that you're around and what you're doing.
Okay, thank you.
And as well, I posted 2 links in the chat to
HubSpot's great.
blogs that go over marketing on Instagram. One's from Shopify.com and one's from HubSpot.com.
I really trust HubSpot. HubSpot's fantastic.
The reason why I posted those 2 specifically and why I trust them is because both HubSpot and Shopify, while they do different things, their customer base is people who are successful in their marketing, and HubSpot and Shopify provide services to businesses. That's pretty much what they're selling. So they're pretty much invested in people being able to get good marketing done via Instagram and other ways. That way, they can sell their services to businesses for whatever, it is you're selling, or you're doing market research. But those are 2 solid guides, and they're pretty long guides on like what to do for Instagram marketing.
And also, I know this is a lot and you may not, but in the back of your level 1 book, there are at least 50 pages of ways to market, of marketing help that I think we forget about sometimes. So a lot of really awesome information. There's also, I think, even links in there that will help you, and that cites, hey, check out this expert, check out this person, they've got a good information. We provide you with fantastic marketing information in the back of your level 1 book. So it's something that I highly suggest going back, not being afraid to go back and open up. So if you feel lost somewhere, whether it be in Instagram, because we talk about each of the platforms a bit in there and what their strengths are and how to use them. So we also talk about SEO. We talk about all kinds of stuff in the back of that level 1 book. So use it and refer back to it. There's a lot of great information there for you.
I know Amani Mitchell, you had your hand up earlier. I don't know if you still had a question or not. But if not, we can
No.
move on to someone else.
I think did Bernice ask her question?
There was also one other question about the periods. It's
yeah, that's-
actually just pushing the hashtags down to the bottom of the description. That way somebody actually has to click like see more or whatever, and then it opens up the rest of the description and there's the hashtags.
And they're the hashtags. It's not part of it's not in the whatever it is that you're posting, because you have
The
a
very
very,
top of the description.
yeah, you have a very small amount of characters to get somebody's attention to click on the see more. So you really want to capitalize on the little amount of text that you have that's already showing and use it to the best of your ability. Yes, you can. Brandon asked on Facebook if you can put hashtags in the comments. Absolutely, you can put hashtags in on your first comment if you want. That works just the same, works just as well. Don't go over 30 hashtags though. Instagram does not like you to use more than 30 and will ping you back even if you're hashtagging in comments as well. Also, another great tool to utilize on Instagram, a big, huge tool, and this is good on any social media platform, is cross-marketing, finding, again, people like yourself or services that are in the same realm of what you offer and partnering up with them, and posting for one another and mentioning one another, sharing each other's stories. If you can create a network of like-minded service providers, even if they are a little different, you are going to be able to share audiences with each other, and that will help build followings quicker and help get people following you faster as well. Really super. Co-marketing is just a very, very powerful tool. It works the same way referrals work. It's just in a social media realm.
Yeah, Vicky.
So another question I have, and this is something my daughter has referenced or suggested, she's 32, that especially in Instagram, her perspective would be that you are also posting about your life within certain boundaries because you want people to know about you as much as what you're selling. What are your thoughts about that?
Again, one of the things that I should pull out, I call it enrich, and it's with regard to what you should be posting, what kind of content you should be posting. And there's a lot of different options. If you are your brand, right? And your brand is, I'm showing you who I am, I'm branding myself. So I'm Vicky the coach. Then yeah, people will want to see your life. Why? Because they'll want to be, you're saying, this is me, this is my life. They're buying you and your life, right? And your results. So I've made these results in my life. If you want the same, right? So that is one approach to marketing yourself is that. And in those cases, I would absolutely say that I call that like the behind the scenes post. You get the behind the scenes post. Social media should be to some degree a little nittier and grittier than if there is a fine line here though. It should be human. You want social media to be human. I want to see people. I want to see other faces. I want to see faces like me, faces that I relate to. And that's what I'm going to gravitate to. And that's what I'm going to click on. So it could be you. It could be your client. It could be your clients sharing stuff about you. It could be you sharing what the process is like. It could be if you're a coach that goes out and does talks and things like that, then it can be showing that process. It can be showing that. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. But you wanted to, I'm almost going to go grab it really quick. I always say you want to enrich. Your content should be enriching in social media. You don't want to just be marketing people. So ultimately you want to be entertaining them. You want to be enriching their lives. You want to be, when they're scrolling, you want to be piquing their interest somehow, helping them somehow, showing them something they've never seen before, showing them something interesting, doing things that are making social media and more, I guess we'll say we want to add some depth, right? And that's really the best content creators are creating depth, or they're making people laugh, or there's so many options, but ultimately we're trying to enrich the lives of the people that we are posting for. And that can be done so many ways. And there will be ways that make better sense for you, Vicki, and ways that make better sense for Anthony, the coach, or Florian, the coach, or Sam, the coach, right? You guys are all going to have something that feels more natural to you. Like, oh, wait, this is jiving. I can do this. Some people write blogs. Some people do talks. Some people are really good at just being funny. Some people use their money and their success. Some people use quotes. Some people, but what resonates with you is going to be the most natural and authentic.
Okay.
And that's really what's important, is figure out what feels authentic for you to do on social and run with that.
Okay, thank you.
Be you.
Dan just appeared and then he disappeared.
Yeah, I think that was our warning.
Okay. So we can answer.
I didn't mean to come off camera. It just somehow happened. Apologies.
But we got about 10 minutes, so we can answer some quick questions as well. If anybody has anything they'd like
Anything
to
quick?
add.
If not, I'm gonna go grab the book really quick so that
Yes, I was answering some questions in the comments as well. Just gonna make sure that there's nothing else here. And then maybe just to add on, since I'm just talking to myself now, Vicky's comment about, adding personal things, or talking about your personal life on social media or even on your website, is why. Why are you doing this, and what purpose does that serve? And usually the answer that you'll find is it's so that your client can build trust, and they can understand that what you are selling them is relevant to who you are as a person, especially when it comes to coaching, because sometimes you're not just marketing a service, you're also marketing your own personality. That's where things can get mixed up. Samantha asked, what should be our very first marketing step?
we get this
hold
question
on,
every time.
Yes, and here is the answer that we will give you is identify who it is you're trying to serve and who your client is, and really nail that down. What is it you are providing them? What benefit do they get from working with you? What things are they going to take away after having worked with you? Once you build out that profile of who that person is, then you go on to the next steps.
We actually have an article that we can help. Do you want to put the niche?
Yeah, I'll put that in.
It's got even a little infographic for you on it and everything. By finding, I will, when people work with me, a lot of times one of the first things I'll say is, this is going to make you feel uncomfortable. You're not going to like it. You're going to panic a little bit and worry that oh my God, I'm losing out on all of this opportunity by picking a single human being. But I will make people narrow it down to one single person. Who is your ideal person? Who is this person? What do they do? Where are they at? What do they need to hear? And it feels like it's so tiny. Oh my goodness. But the reality is, in speaking to one person, it really clarifies your message. It really clarifies what their needs are. It clarifies where you find them. And then on top of that too, you're still casting a wider net than you realize, even when you're picking one person. And the great thing about that too is you're casting a net that actually speaks to people and speaks to specific needs of the person that you're serving. Because I'm sorry, I'm not buying fulfillment. I'm not putting my money in the hands of anybody for that. I'm not putting anybody in the hands for a better life. For me, those are way too out here. What do you mean by that? What does that mean? What does that look like? What does that look like for me? Because that looks totally different for me than it does for Anthony or anybody else. So really narrowing that focus and finding out what the needs, the pain points all of that of your client are, so that you can better serve them and speak to them.
Any other final questions? I posted also the niche link to our blog that me and Brooke co-wrote into chat. If you want to get more information on niching down.
I think we're about at time. So well, why don't we wrap up the live part, and then if there are any other questions that pop up once we're done.
Awesome. So that was our CLCI live lunch and learn with our wonderful coaching 102 students who are about to graduate as master certified life coaches. So be sure to share, subscribe, comment, like our videos. And if you're interested in becoming a master certified life coach, just like these people, check out our website at certifiedlifecoachinstitute.com. All right.